Hey, this is Augie, Augie's Locker Room. When you come to the store, you're going to see things that you've probably never seen before unless you've been to a museum. Great items that go back to the Rockney era to the present. Website, augieslockerroom.com. Visit us here or the website.
Tim O'Malley from the JMA Wireless Dome. And Tim Prister, we had some news yesterday, or potential news that could affect this game. The availability of quarterback Garrett Schrader. Been a lot of digging and cannot find out if the game time decision quote that we heard is true or not. I expect Schrader to give it a go if humanly possible.
Yeah, Dino Babers mentioned on Monday that they were really banged up. I made the comment, I believe, in Thursday's podcast that I wouldn't be surprised if Garrett Schrader was one of those guys because he took some shots down the stretch of the Clemson game. So we'll see. I mean, I would advise everybody to stay posted to Irish Illustrated Four Horsemen Lounge because Tim will have an update on that when he sees something. But the backup for him is Carlos Del Rio Wilson. He's a redshirt freshman, and he's thrown a whopping 5 passes this year. So, as Notre Dame shoots for their 26th straight regular season win against ACC opponents, that would certainly be huge.
Yeah, there's some talent there, though. Briefly, 4-star recruit and a Florida commit, and he transferred from Florida, so it's definitely not bringing in a preferred walk-on if that happens. But obviously, Schrader's the key. But the running game for Syracuse, if they're able to establish it, you have highlighted Rondé Gadsden II often this week as a potential matchup problem for Notre Dame, and his knack for getting open, and the fact they need him to, because he is their Michael Mayer. He is the number one option through the air, and it's something they're going to attack with him no matter what. Yeah,
really, the receiving cores for both teams are comparable in that you have, although Gadsden's 6'5", 216, not nearly as big as Michael Mayer, they favor him strongly because their wide receiver core is pretty average, just like Notre Dame. So, the running game will be huge for Notre Dame. Obviously, I would dare say that I think the passing game to the running backs is lifted up a little bit more for this game. Drew Pine away from Notre Dame Stadium has completed 74% of his passes with 6 touchdowns and 1 interception. So we'll see if he can continue that trend away from Notre Dame Stadium.
I think you hit a good point there. The passing game with the running backs, there were only 2 passes to the running backs last week. There was the miss to Chris Tyree downfield, and then the screen that Pine kind of threw into the ground when it wasn't there. And with Estime, we assume coming back and getting a full workload, assuming that he did not have fumbling issues in practice. It's those 3 guys, Michael Mayer, and the offensive line, because if it can click with the running game, if Drew Pine can get comfortable early, you like to think Drew Pine can continue some momentum through this game. We've seen him do it before. This will be a bit tougher test than the other defenses he faced where he's excelled.
Yeah, he's facing a couple good corners again today, especially if they get their other Garrett back, Garrett Williams at cornerback. We will see about that as well. One thing I want everybody to keep an eye on, that is this. Syracuse is tied for last in the country at 9.6 penalties per game. Notre Dame is tied for 8th at 4.3. But on Monday, Dino Babers talked about reaching out to the officiating crew or the head of officials in the ACC. Those things have a way of evening out when a coach makes a little bit of a stir like that. So Notre Dame at 4.3 and Syracuse at 9.6. Let's see if that disparity remains the same, because I think that we could see a little evening of the score in that department.
And there's one more disparity I think we all need to keep an eye on is Sean Tucker is not getting the ball 5 times handed to him as he did last week against Clemson. And as you mentioned, he still had 54 yards on those 5 touches. I think they will feed him early and often through the air, testing Notre Dame's linebackers. Notre Dame's linebackers tackle a lot better when it's the simple running game that they could feature. In space, when you have Tucker out there, he is a quick guy that can make people miss. And tackling, I might be overrating it a little bit, because we've come to accept Notre Dame as a really good tackling team in the past few years. I think tackling is going to be paramount in this game, and they struggled a little bit in the last 2 games in that regard.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And I also think that when you look at both lines of scrimmage, I think Notre Dame has the edge, and that has to be distinct in this game if they're going to win on the road in a difficult environment. Last thing for me, the kickers, Andre Schmidt for Syracuse, who's been around since the 2018 game in Yankee Stadium, and of course Blake Grupe. They're both hot this year. Schmidt is a great kicker. He's proven it over 5 seasons now. I would imagine both kickers are heavily involved in the field goal game today.
That is it pregame from what used to be called the Carrier Dome. I'll be back postgame with Tim Priester for more instant analysis on irishillustrated.com.